one of our pilots, Mark Levy, did the video. He was a British Airways captain, his wife was a British Airways captain, and the girl in the film is his daughter, and it was her first Spitfire flight. So, well, there we are. I'll be back in.
Parachute, helmet, and to safely get in and out of the Spitfire ML407. And also the safety items in the cockpit you need to know about. You will be provided with a helmet individually tailored for a close fit. Don the helmet and lock and adjust the chin strap. Adjust the microphone so that it's close to the lips for clear communication. The sun visor can be controlled by the circular catches on each side of the helmet. Alternatively, you may use your own sunglasses or spectacles. The parachute will only be used in extreme circumstances, but it's important that it is fitted correctly. Don the parachute as you would a jacket and connect the chest hook. Now reach down between your legs and attach the leg straps in the same way. Finally, pull on the loose end of the webbing so the harness is tight but comfortable. Our ground crew will now help you to board the aircraft. Carefully climb the steps and stand on the seat, taking care not to use the sliding canopy for support. Looking down, you'll see the crossbeam just ahead of the seat onto which you'll initially put your weight, and ahead the rudder pedals and connecting rods where your feet will rest when seated. The cockpit side door will now be closed, and, using both cockpit sides for support, lower yourself into the seat, leaning forward so that the parachute does not snag on the canopy catch. Place the balls of your feet on the rudder pedals, allowing the pedals to move freely as the pilot controls the aircraft. To the right of the seat pan, you will find the seat height adjustment lever. To press the end button, pull up or down the lever to raise or lower the seat as required. The aircraft is fitted with a 4-point safety harness. To fit, grasp the quick release box or QRB with your right hand, and making sure the release handle is vertical, feed the lap belt and shoulder harness attachments into the QRB until they snap into place. We'll then help you to tighten the harness. To open the cockpit door, use your right hand to operate the yellow door lever. First pressure on the handle will allow the door to spring into the intermediate canopy locking slot. Pulling the handle all the way down will fully open the door. Only open the canopy when requested or permitted by the pilot. Use your left hand to reach up and grasp the handle attached to the yellow canopy latch. Pull the handle down and rearwards whilst ducking your head. Let's now point out some of the main features inside the Spitfire cockpit. To your left are the rudder and pitch trimmers. Ahead are the throttle and propeller levers. Keep clear of these at all times. And on the cockpit shelf is the flap control used on final approach. At the top of the panel are the two main engine ignition switches, which will be on in flight and must not be touched. The pneumatic gauge is below, and you will see the individual brake pressure needles moving as the pilot uses the brakes during taxi out. At the top of the main instrument panel is the airspeed indicator, calibrated in knots. Below is the altimeter, separate needles showing hundreds and thousands of feet. In the centre are the artificial horizon, and below the direction indicator. These have been disconnected, and your attention should be primarily outside the aircraft for orientation. The vertical speed indicator shows climb or descent in thousands of feet per minute, and below is the turn and bank instrument, whose upper indication shows whether the aircraft is directionally balanced. To the right are the engine gauges. They are the oil pressure gauge, the engine boost gauge showing power output, the propeller RPM gauge, and next to it is the fuel pressure warning light. You'll see this illuminated before engines start and again on shutdown. Also on the lower panel is the main fuselage fuel tank gauge. The coolant temperature gauge is also at the base of the panel. To your right you'll find the main undercarriage selector. Keep clear of the selector handle, but note the position of the mode annunciator window. Finally, by your right knee is the main fuel selector cock. You may have to move your knee inwards to allow the pilot to change tanks. Let us now recap the emergency procedures detailed in the pilot's notes. If the aircraft is involved in a ground collision, or if a sudden stop causes the aircraft to nose over, remain seated in the cockpit with your harness fastened. Remove your helmet to communicate with the pilot, who will have switched off the electrics as part of his checks. Provided there is no risk of fire, wait for the ground crew to come to your assistance. If the landing gear fails to extend, the pilot may ask you to tell him what you see in the annunciator window. It is also possible he may have to gently bump the aircraft to extend the wheels. However, a gear-up landing may be the only option. This is a common procedure in wartime and usually resulted in superficial damage. You will be asked to open and lock the sliding canopy. Remember to use your left hand and lower your head as you pull the canopy aft. To lock the canopy, gently pull the yellow door handle and let it spring to the central lock slot. As you can see, this stops the canopy sliding forward under deceleration on landing. If the pilot experiences a rough running engine, the first thing he will do is change fuel tanks, so be ready to move your knee out of the way of the main fuel cock. If the engine fails completely, the aircraft will be put into a glide and a wheels-up landing will be planned in a suitable field if a runway cannot be reached. Follow the pilot's instructions to lock the canopy open and tighten your safety harness. After landing, exit the cockpit and move clear of the aircraft. A fire in flight may be engine or electrically related. If electrical, the intercom may stop working as the electrics will be turned off. If engine related, the main fuel cock will also be turned off. If fire persists, the pilot will apply full rudder and side slip the aircraft to landing to keep the fire away from the cockpit. The pilot will use the command, "Get out of the aircraft," if a collision causes loss of control. Take these steps. Disconnect your helmet plug. Reach up with your right hand and identify the red canopy jetson ball. Pull the ball sharply down. If the canopy does not depart, push both sides out to allow the airflow to take it away. Keep your head low as the canopy departs. Now rotate the QRB handle to release the harness and discard your shoulder straps. Open the cockpit door and stand up on the seat. Before jumping, locate the ripcord D-ring with your right hand across your chest. Jump outward and downwards towards the wing. When clear of the aircraft, pull the ripcord with both hands.
Ask on your way down.
Okay, it's nearly time to fly. When you're ready, the crew will ask you to put your helmet on and plug it in. Clip the transmission box to your harness. To speak to the pilot, press the intercom button down and release when finished. The crew will now close the door and slide the canopy shut. Once again, lower your head to avoid the canopy hitting your helmet. Remember, if there's anything you are not sure about, or if something concerns you, please ask the pilot before taking action. Now give us a thumbs up, and it's time to take to the skies.